Hello again, Generation 1 Transformer fans. This is Sparkster1701 here, and I've got a rather special Transformer to show this week. This is Doubledealer, the Mercenary Transformer that was a Power Master released in 1988. It was also available in 1989 and would be discontinued in 1990, just before the end of the toy line. Now, Doubledealer is an interesting one due to the fact that he has two unique robot modes and one vehicle mode. This is a similar concept that had been explored a year earlier with the Autobot Double Spy Punch Counterpunch. Doubledealer himself made very few appearances in the various media, possibly making a few in the comic books, but by then the animated series had ended in America, so his only known animated appearance, aside from the commercials, was in the Japanese series Super God Master Force, where he was called Double Clouder. Let's take a look at his vehicle mode real quick, and as you can see, he is a missile trailer, complete with an intercontinental ballistic missile, or ICBM for short. While the missile itself on this toy is not capable of being launched, it is rather easily removable. The wheels on this are plastic, so they roll kind of easily on a smooth surface like this table. But some rough types of carpet will likely block the wheels from moving. Right in here, this section right down here is for the Power Master engines to be put in. A common misconception about the Power Master line, as you quite commonly mentioned from the commercial, that it requires the Nebulan engines, such as this one right here, to be plugged in as the only means of transforming him. And the instructions clearly state that that is not necessarily true. If you are able to press the button, the specific button inside the gap, you will be able to unlock it even if you don't have the engine. And we'll show that here for both modes on Doubledealer. As stated earlier, Doubledealer came with two different engines. Right here is the Autobot Knock, and here is the Decepticon Scar. Both of them, only one can be plugged in at a time, but when each one unlocks a different mode. We're going to take Scar out of the way here, and we're going to plug Knock into him and make him the Autobot warrior. The first thing to do to get Knock ready is to get his arms down, like that. And then you have him do a splits, and then fold his legs up to connect into his shoulders. And you can see from the back side, he's a little engine. You just take and plug him in into the slot, just like that. Alternatively, if you don't have Knock, all you'd have to do is push this red button, and it will unlock the legs. So we're going to put him back in so we can put Knock in and show you that that works just as well with him in there. Push him down good and make sure you hear him click, and then pop out the legs and unfold them. Pop the legs out here and rotate them at the knee so that the wheels are facing forward, because these posts here are his feet. Reach up here and pull the arms out. They're fixed on a special red hinge here, so not only is it at the body, it's also at the arm. Pop them out, just exactly like that. Bring the missile holder up to form his head, and then bring down the arms. Includes a chest piece here. The instructions state that it goes down over the engine, but it fits better if it's placed up here. And then now you take the missile and you separate it into two weapons. This one, the lower half, is commonly referred to as his hand blaster, so that can easily be put in his hand. The top portion is also referred to as a cannon. It can either be connected in his hand through this post, or with this hole in it, it can actually be mounted also on his shoulder. The gun here also has a hole in it, so it can also be mounted on his shoulder. And then here is Doubledealer in his Autobot mode, where he is basically your average, generic, ordinary robot. His articulation is pretty limited, as he has just enough in his elbows to raise his gun or look like he's about to punch somebody real close. His legs, unfortunately, their only articulation is at the hip, so maybe he can stand and do a weird side kick or something. Now we'll take a look at his Decepticon form, and he gets Scar here ready for it. He's radically different than any other Power Master figure, as he's a bat creature. To get him ready, all you have to do is fold his wings in, and he's all set. Now, in plugging him into Doubledealer, you need to make sure that he is touching both of these red buttons here on the sides. If you've misplaced your Scar figure, to change him in the Decepticon form, all you have to do is push the buttons with a mechanical pencil or a pen. It just unlocks the sides here of the missile trailer. Oops. Hold him upside down. Just like that. Lock him back up, and we'll plug Scar in. Once you get Scar in and get him in there good, just pop the sides loose. Scar doesn't stay in as easily as what Knock does, so be careful with that. You just fold the sides down. You fold out these sections and bring down the purple arm to form his feet. Shift this a little bit towards the back. And up top here, we just fold out his wings. They've also got a secondary hinge, so just pull the wings out, extend them in full, lift up this purple panel, and you bring out the head, close it up, and turn his head. Go ahead and open the mouth if you'd like as well. Down beneath him here, you mount the top part of the missile, so he kind of carries it like a bomb. It's best if you put it in upside down and kind of adjust it. You'd also take the other half of the missile, or the blaster. You can attach the chest canal, the chest piece, to the back of it. And optionally, Knock just happens to fit in here. You just mount this on top in the hole, and you can take Knock for a ride. This is his Decepticon form, a giant falcon. And of all three of Doubledealer's modes, I like this mode the least, since it's pretty bulky. Bring him a little closer to the camera so that you can see, and a lot of the kibble for the missile trailer is seen on the backside. Plus, his articulation on this is a little bit better, but still not as impressive. I mean, the head can be raised up and down, open and close the mouth. The wings, you can raise them up a little bit, but I don't know, that kind of makes him look like a griffin or something like that. But you do have some positioning for his legs and the feet, so I guess that's something of a trade-off. The only other thing I really don't care for is the keeping of Nock here in the backside, since the more than meets the eye guides that were done in the comics seem to indicate that Doubledealer keeps his two Power Master figures separated and doesn't hint to them about what he's doing when he's not with them. So just kind of seems to go against that by having the other Power Master figure riding along in the backside. Alright, let's take a look at Doubledealer's instruction manual. And this was typical manual for 1988, still using the same scheme of putting them in black and white and using red for Autobots and purple for Decepticons. And as you can see, even though Doubledealer himself is listed as a mercenary, he is colored in Decepticon colors. It even has him labeled here incorrectly as a Decepticon. It seemed like back then in the 1980s, toy lines did not want to give us characters that did not belong to one faction or the other. The same could be said for Zodak of the Masters of the Universe toy line and the bounty hunter characters that would be featured in the numerous Star Wars toy lines. The toy makers seem to want to make all of them allied as with the bad guys, instead of that they're neutral, they can serve with anybody. Right here you'll see, this is Doubledealer's parts listing. Show all that he came with. Feel free to pause the instructions if you want to read them. It shows how to assemble the missile and connect it. And then right here's the instructions on how to put Nock and Scar into engine mode. And then they come down here at the bottom and show you how to transform him into the robot. And strangely, here at the end, they only show about mounting both of the weapons in his hands. They don't make any mention that you can attach them to his shoulders. And then here on the back side, it starts how to turn him into the Falcon. Now right here on this page here, where they show how to insert Scar, they mention in here what you have to do if you don't have either of your engines. Which I think this would have been better off as well also being on the front of the instructions, because if this was your first Power Master and somehow you lost the instructions, like your pet stole the engines away from you before you could put them in, people would have probably have neglected to have even bothered doing anything with the toy or just thrown it out or something. Pets can do that. Pets are irritating when they do that, aren't they? I got a lot of friends that have had pets, mainly cats. Right here shows the last of it, and then we get into how to put his stickers onto the robot, missile top, and the Falcon. And here at the end, we have the mentioning for collecting robot points, despite the fact that by now there were no longer any mail-away offers for the Transformers. But they still kept putting robot points if to keep our hopes alive. And they still had the tech spec decoders. It would be 1989, the year that followed, that the tech spec decoder would be phased out for a different type of tech spec. And surprisingly still, as I've said before, they're still using Blue Streak's tech spec in there, despite the fact that he's already long been phased out of the line. Speaking of tech specs, let's take a look here at Doubledealer's tech spec, which, as we showed earlier with his instructions, he's got the purple color and is incorrectly labeled as a Decepticon. Gives his name as Doubledealer. Function, Mercenary. For those of you who may not be familiar with the term, a mercenary is a soldier for hire. So Doubledealer gets paid by either the Autobots or the Decepticons to work for them for a certain amount of time. This gives his motto as, "The price of victory is never too high." and that would be fitting for a mercenary. A ruthless, battle-ready robot for rent, a traitorous backstabber, only loyal to the highest bidder, valued by all, trusted by none. And that's usually how a mercenary is, especially if it's one that's playing both sides of a conflict. When binary bonded to Nock, Doubledealer disguises himself as an Autobot robot. When binary bonded to the bat creature Scar, Doubledealer transforms into a Decepticon Falcon, armed with intercontinental ballistic missile capable that can travel 3,000 miles in 30 minutes, equipped with enough explosives to flatten a mountain range, uses solid light blaster in robot mode. We lay the decoder over his specs here, and it lists his strength at 8, his intelligence at 8, his speed is 6, his endurance is a 9, his rank comes in at 8, his courage at 9, his firepower at 8, and his skill at 9, which means that Doubledealer is a very powerful warrior and one that both sides should not underestimate. Let's take a quick look at Doubledealer's parts, and he came with only 5 pieces. First off, we have Nock, the Autobot Power Master engine. There's nothing really fancy about him, just an engine on the back. Check to see if the screws on him are rusted. And we also have Scar, the Decepticon. Again, check him to see if he's got any rust in his screw, and also to make sure that this plastic post is still intact, because that's how you remove him from Doubledealer. A component that's commonly overlooked is this, the chest plate. It's prone to some sticker wear because it's just got those 2 stickers on it, but otherwise it's just a piece of plastic. But you might want to keep an eye on these tabs in here. Whoops, with this finger. Keep tabs of them there because these are rather thin, and if you too much force will break them. And of course, you have the top part of his missile and the lower portion. And these can sometimes be found together. To connect it, you just pop it in and lay flat. Just make sure you hear it snap. And there you go. One ICBM ready for takeoff. And this, of course, concludes my review of the Generation 1 Mercenary Doubledealer. I hope you found this video informative, especially if you intend to collect a Doubledealer. If you liked it, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up. And also don't forget to leave your comments down below, and also to mention of any others that you would like to see reviewed. And also don't forget to hit that subscribe button down there. Thank you all for watching today, and I will catch you all later. This is Sparkster1701 signing off.